We recently asked our viewers to leave their very best frugal tip, and we got a whole bunch of great tips. So many we can't include them all in this video, so here are the best of the best.
If you don't know us, I'm Hope.
And I'm Larry.
And this is Under the Median, where every week we talk about practical frugality. Our viewers rock. They sent in a lot of tips. We're going to get right down to it. But first, we want to tell you, this is like coffee time with Hope and Larry. Get your beverage of choice. For us, what are we drinking today? We are drinking Private Selection coffee from Kroger, which we got on clearance for $1.72. Guys, if you find markdown coffee, stick it in the freezer. It will last a lot longer in the freezer than it will on your shelf. There you go. That's the only tip you're going to get from us in this video. The rest of them are all yours. Let's get started.
Skylove writes, I let things sit in the Amazon cart as long as I possibly can before deciding whether or not to purchase. I cannot tell you how many times that I would have immediately purchased at one time. I have ended up not buying and completely deleting from my cart after weeks of sitting there. Great idea.
Jay Montgomery says, never shop when you are hungry, tired, or stressed. We read this tip and we're like, so
when would you go shopping? When would you go shopping?
She's got a valid point, though.
But no, that's a good point. Yeah. April says, every 4 to 6 weeks, I do a pantry shelf cooking week. All meals are planned to use what's already in the house. That's from the freezer, the fridge, or the shelf. I don't buy extra, thinking I'm pantry shelf cooking soon. I just go with what I have and how it turns out.
You know what I thought was really important about this tip was the fact that April was very clear. It's not like she's stocking up ahead of time knowing, all right, we got that pantry shelf thing coming next week. I'm going to make sure I got plenty on the shelf. She's like, no, just like all of a sudden one day she'll go, I think this is a pantry shelf cooking week. And she does it for specific reasons. So number one, it does help save money. But number two, it lets her know how really prepared she is to have food in the pantry that she can make without going to the grocery store.
Excellent.
Super smart.
Excellent idea. And we've been doing this for the first 4 months of this year, basically eating out of our freezer and the pantry in order to save some extra money.
We did. So speaking of that, just real briefly, I dropped our grocery budget to $100 a month for the first 4 months of this year, specifically so I could use up some things that I had on hand and save enough money to go on our bulk shopping haul to Amish country. I did a video about the $100 grocery budget, what that felt like, looked like, how I menu planned using that little bit of money for our family. I'll make sure that video is linked up above and in the description of this video.
Cynthia uses pen to paper to track spending, and that has enabled her to be realistic about her budget.
Mm-hmm. Track it. Even if you don't do it pen to paper, track it. Track it. Deidre says, talking about finances with people. Since budgeting 2.5 years ago, I'm way more open to talk to friends, family, and coworkers about money, budgeting, debt, etc. When you aren't scared of your finances or debt, it's so much easier to be open and accountable because money is a taboo subject and there's no reason for it. Bingo! Here's what Deidre got that is really, really important. Don't act out of fear. Don't act or react out of fear. Instead, and we've said this a lot of times on this channel, instead of panic, plan.
Excellent. Customer says, buying store brand groceries, health or beauty products, cleaning products, and medications instead of national brands saves me the most money each week. I literally save hundreds of dollars every shopping trip. Yeah. I have taught my 2 teenagers to do the same. Way to go, passing it on to the next generation.
As parents of 4 boys, we highly approve of that methodology.
Yes.
Donna says, I purchased an old-fashioned push mower. No gas, no oil, engine repairs, less noise, better for us to walk and push. We did this for years. That's why we loved this tip. For a long time, our old house was really small yard, so we used a push mower, and Larry had to fight me for like mowing the lawn every week because I loved doing it, y'all. It was a great little workout, and you had that like resistance against your pushing. It was wonderful.
Okay, now I gotta be honest about the fighting over the lawnmower here. I did not fight her too hard. You want to mow the lawn? You go for it, girl. So she was really good. She got some exercise and took some of my responsibilities off of me. It was wonderful. Psych 911 says, if you drink dairy milk and normally buy semi-skimmed, instead buy full fat and you can get twice as much by diluting it.
Yeah, we did this all the time. When the kids were young, we diluted orange juice too. So do y'all dilute your drinks, especially when you're serving them to kids? Tell us in the comments section. Jessica said, it's an easy tip but hard to follow. Remember, you have food at home. It's just like your mama told you, there is food at home. We are not eating out. Exactly. Yep. Usually there's a lot more in a house than we think there is.
And here's another addition onto that. Whatever you have at home, I'm sure is going to be more healthy than what you can get at a fast food restaurant. Catherine Richardson says, clothing hack. Delicate garments that need to dry quickly can air dry by using a box fan. Now, who in the world would think of that? Hang the item so the air from the fan is aimed right directly at the clothing. I also use this idea on those days that I cannot hang my wash on the clothesline outside. What a great tip. And you know, if you're hanging stuff in the house and you're blow drying it with a box fan, that evaporation is going to actually help cooling your home in the spring and summer and fall months when it's warm. So that would actually serve two purposes.
Rhonda says, all my tips relate to cooking. I look up copycat recipes for my favorite restaurant meals. To avoid eating out, I turn off the stove or oven early to let the residual heat finish cooking the meal.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah,
at least 5 or 10 minutes, I think, of that last cooking time.
Yeah, there's plenty of heat in an oven, certainly, to do that. Irene Jones says, always cut a tube open to see if there's still some extra product in there. Now, I think she's talking about toothpaste, lotions, etc. Use the product in the top, the flat end first. If there's more than one use left in it, scrunch up the bottom of the tube and fit it into the cleaned out top of the tube to keep it closed until you use the product again.
Jenna says, a tip from Finland. Hey, Jenna, thanks for joining us from Finland. With kids, I always try to find them clothes the next size up. Yes, in advance, especially seasonal out gear when those items are on sale. I pass my kids small clothes for friends' kids, and they pass theirs to mine. Love doing that. We buy used, and that way we can save loads of money, be more eco-friendly, and my kids are always dressed in the right size clothes.
Oh, that's an excellent tip. You can save so much money on clothes by doing that. We had kind of a network set up with some of our homeschooling friends that they had kids slightly older than us and some that were slightly younger, and we exchanged clothing as we needed to with them, and we really didn't have to buy, I don't think we bought hardly any new clothing while we were raising our kids. Most of it was used or exchanged clothing with friends. My boring PowerPoints. I love that name. I want to see those PowerPoints. She writes, I save veggie scraps in a freezer bag until it's full. I throw it in the crock pot with enough water to cover and let it simmer all day. Then I strain it into storage containers and freeze it. The strained scraps go directly back into the garden. Here's the second tip. I keep tabs on my produce drawer. If I notice some of my veggies getting older, I throw it into the soup with broth and a vegan bouillon and a can of tomatoes or beans, depending on what I have around. I call it my catch-all, or WNWN soup, and that stands for waste not, want not.
I love it.
Excellent.
We call it kitchen sink soup because, like, we throw everything in it but the kitchen sink. I loved her tip about making homemade veggie broth. If you've never done that and want to know how to do it, I actually did a post on it on the website, and I'm going to make sure that that post is listed in the description of this video in case you want kind of a step-by-step tutorial on how to do that. I tell how to do it on top of the stove, in the crock pot, and also in your Instant Pot. Dawn Mountain Girl says, we have a simple bill tracking method we've been doing for years. Inside our kitchen cabinet, I have a sheet of note paper. On it, I listed week 1 through week 4. Each week gets an assignment of bills, usually 1 or 2 bills per week. Those bills get paid immediately on payday, and then the other expenses like food, gas, etc. are dealt with. This has helped us get out of debt and also kept us both on the same page, very important, with our financial situation, both during good times and during not so good times. That was a game changer for us. I like this because some people don't realize that, let's say, like you got 8 bills a month and 6 of them all fall in the first 2 weeks, especially if you're paid bi-weekly. That can get kind of dicey to figure out how to, get from week 1 and week 2 to week 3 and week 4 without running out of money. Contact the companies and say, you know what, can you just skew my due date by 7 days or 10 days in order to get some of those bills off of those first 2 weeks of the month and move some of them to the second 2 weeks of the month. And a lot of companies will do that for you, no problem.
Mimi's Frugal Life writes, my strategy is that when I have an increase in income, I cut my spending by that amount. It's like getting a double raise. So instead of adding that to her budget, she's actually subtracting it and getting, in a sense, a double bonus.
I really, really like that. Linda says, convenience costs. Grate cheese, chopped vegetables yourself instead of buying prepackaged. These store well in the fridge in good containers. If you look at herbs and seasonings used in a packaged meal seasoning pack, then use your own to taste, and it's amazing what you can do so much cheaper. I have done this like a gazillion times. You see one of those prepackaged things at the store, I just turn over and say, so what are they using in this? And then I create my own version of it using those exact same ingredients. Just take a photo of it with your phone. Front package, front of the package, back of the package, so you remember what package it is you're looking at the back of, and then make your own using those same, sort of array of seasonings and spices.
Yeah, there's all kinds of ways to get around paying full price for items that are prepackaged. My own person writes, I work out how many after-tax hours it would cost me to work for my wants. It puts it into perspective for me that the money would be better saved and focus in on an early retirement. So when she looks at an item, she determines how much time it's going to take her to earn that back into her budget. And is that really worth it or not? That's a really good way to look at finances.
Putting a value, a price tag on your time. I really like that idea.
Yeah, great.
All right. M. Dilworth says, we love pickles. I save pickle juice and we use it to pickle our hard-boiled eggs. I've done that too. Just throw other vegetables in there and pickle them in the leftover pickle juice. You can get pickle juice to last like a really long time.
Christy Penny, I like that name, Christy Penny. That's good. It's worth their 2 cents. Experiences. I try not to spend more per hour on an experience than I earned. 95% of the time, I stick to this, and the times I don't, it's when I really, really want to do something like go to the theater and see a play I've wanted to see for ages. I always look for coupons and deals to do these things to bring the price down. If you're not sure how long an experience lasts, go to TripAdvisor and it will have the hours for you estimated. So once again, this is a little bit similar to my own person's comment, where you're converting your time and effort into how much dollars that would cost.
Yeah, so for instance, if an event's going to last 2 hours and it costs $40 for your ticket, if you make at least $20 an hour or more, then that's 2 hours of your time and that's within the range. But if that experience costs $90 for a ticket for 2 hours and you're making $20 an hour, then maybe you want to give that a second look-see before you purchase the ticket. Interesting way to look at it.
It is indeed.
4-Day Homestead says, when I feel I'm not making progress with my balanced budget and paying down debt, I post a simple, colorful, positive graph on my refrigerator. Motivation. Put it in front of your face, and you're more likely to see it every time you walk through your kitchen. You're going to go, oh, yep, got to stick to that budget. You know what? If you want colorful, inspiring, and interesting graphs, we have some for you. You want our free graphs that you can print out and then put on your fridge, and you can actually like color them in to track your progress on your savings goals and also your paying off debt goals. We got a free set of those goal trackers for you. We're going to make sure those are linked in the description of the video so you can grab your copy for free.
Kelsey, teaching tiny disciples, that's her name. That's really good. Once again, passing it on to the next generation. Moderation. We used to be all or nothing. We could cut ourselves off from everything and after time go crazy and then overspend. That's like that rebounding effect. Vacations are important to us, so we take a modest trip each year. This means we rarely eat out, even on vacation. For each thing we prioritize, there is an area we are extremely frugal in. Not only does this provide a good balance, which is essential in life, but it keeps budgeting and frugal living exciting and challenging, but not feeling like we are constantly depriving ourselves. And that is exactly what we talk about on this channel, that frugality is not deprivation. It's balancing what you want to spend so that you can spend money on what you want to do.
Julie Shaw says, I found a local farm. I love this. I can't tell you how much I love this. Where you can pick vegetables at 40 cents a pound. We all want to go where Julie lives. You can't beat the price. It's been a wonderful time. And she takes her 88-year-old mother out there picking vegetables with her. That is awesome.
What a great tip. What's Donna Stores? That's once again very creative. Love it. She writes, can cut power bill with cheap solar sidewalk lights out in the day, and then you bring them in at night. You can pull the stake off and stick in a mason jar. The kid and pet-friendly use of these is much safer than candles. Oh, that's very creative too.
I have to tell you, the funnest part about her comment was Sheila's response to her comment. She said, get ones with an on-off feature. I got some from Dollar Tree, and they flash when the charge is low. My house ends up looking like a rave by 5 a.m.
And I was thinking discotheque, but then that goes back too far.
Yeah. Okay, Michelle.
Michelle writes, I make my own meals but limit cooking to a couple days a week so that I have needed downtime after long work days of commuting. And food ready to go. Sometimes I put individual meals in glass storage containers ready to take to work. I make a short note of ready-to-go meals, estimating the number of servings left and additional meal ideas when those run out, noting what ingredients I may need or none so that I don't have to think about it and when I am less motivated and tired. That really takes the work out of it.
Yeah, see, it's like, so here's the threshold, guys, and this is like the eating out threshold where you go, I've had it, I got nothing for lunch, I got no ideas for lunch, I got no other option. I'm going out to eat. So she's taken that threshold and she's moved herself back from that threshold by not just using like one technique, but 2 or 3 or 4 techniques to put that layer of protection between her plan and the eating out threshold.
Back in the days when I went backpacking up in the mountains, I would do something very similar to Michelle's idea. I prepackaged all of my food while I was still at home, and I put them into Ziploc bags, and I typed out a real little sheet of paper and taped on the bags how much water to add and how to cook it, so that when I was out on the field and up in the mountains, all I had to do was take the bag, dump it into a pan, cook it, put the right amount of water in. It was all prepackaged and ready to go. Really took the work out of it when I needed that to be a simple procedure.
Because there were no stores at 12,000 feet.
No, there weren't.
All right. Nicole, taking coffee and breakfast on a regular basis with me to work. So she's not just talking lunch, she's talking take breakfast, take lunch, take them all with you and eat them at work.
Gabby says, I always buy a large package of detergent. This can be a big part of my budget. To absorb the expense, I put a money box on the machine. For each wash, 20 cents went in there. So I saved the purchase price for new detergent in small increments. That is an excellent idea. You know, I often wanted to apply that to using our lights around the house. Can you imagine if you flipped on a light, if you had to put a coin in there that would run that light for, let's say, an hour? Maybe you had to put a nickel in there to run it for an hour. How few times you would be turning that light on. And this, I think, would really help to conserve if we had that mindset in mind.
Glenda Grosjean, staying on the theme of laundry, sent this tip in. I make a double batch of my own liquid laundry soap. She uses the Duggar recipe, in case y'all want to know and look it up. It's the Duggar recipe she uses. It lasts our family of 10 still in the house at least 6 months, and it costs her under $10 to make.
Well, that is amazing.
DM says, I am currently planning my wedding. Congratulations. We highly recommend marriage. It is fantastic. And we will tell you from experience, it just gets better.
Best years of my life.
Every single year, it gets better. She has a limited budget. Congratulations, we did too. We got all of our decorations secondhand or DIY, maybe $100 total for all the decorations. Got the venue for free. That is awesome, through Family Connections. Bought a gorgeous dress from the prom dress section for around $300. My wedding dress technically actually was a prom dress as well, and we sort of made it a little more frou-frou, and it worked great for a wedding dress. Our only big expense will be the food, and we are trying to keep that under $1,000. Yeah, that's tough depending on how many people you are inviting to the wedding. Prioritize. This is the key. She's got it, man. Prioritize on what is most important and spend your money there. Our goal is to track the whole wedding and keep it under $3,000, which, yes, indeed, ma'am, that is pretty cheap for a wedding. And so far, they are well on track. I love those tips because this is, after all, the most important day in your life. And you want to make sure, first of all, that the people that you love and appreciate are there, and then make that prioritized list. What's most important for you?
You definitely want to start out not being in debt.
Yep.
And I know so many couples that do that with their wedding, so that's excellent. Free Food Chef writes, discover which produce items are the most versatile and last the longest, then make them staple grocery purchases. I discovered way back in the late 1970s during the national lettuce shortage. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Remember ever being short of lettuce?
I take her word for it, though, that there was a lettuce shortage.
We ate a lot of lettuce in the 70s. I don't remember that.
Yeah, but you grew it.
Yeah, we grew quite a bit, yeah. So she remembered during the 70s about a lettuce shortage, and they substituted cabbage, and that was a delicious substitute. It's cheap, it has a wonderfully mild, savory flavor and fabulous crunch, and can be used as leaves on sandwiches for a salad platform, stuffed for steamed rolls, or chopped and shredded for a side dish, salad, or soup ingredient. It can also be frozen with no pre-cooking required. I didn't know that. Yep. And as can onions and peppers, by the way.
The reason that I loved this was twofold, because y'all know, if you've watched for any length of time, I am huge on not wasting food. But when she mentioned the cabbage thing, I remembered I actually did a post on the website. I bought a almost 7.5 pound cabbage from the farmer's market. I got it for either $2 or $3. I think it was $2. And I challenged myself in that post to use every single bit of that cabbage and see how many different recipes I could create from that one head of cabbage. I think, for the record, it was 6 or 7 recipes that I made, literally like we ate all week, using that cabbage as the basis for the food that we were eating. You want to get a gander? I've got recipe links, I've got photos, the whole shebang is on the website on that post. I will also list that post on the website. I'll make sure there's a special section in the description of the video, and you'll find those 2 posts from the website that I mentioned in this video.
Excellent. Jennifer writes, as someone that knits, etc., I'm always looking for discount craft items secondhand on Facebook Marketplace, exchanging with friends, sale days at local thrift stores, or just putting the word out. You'll be surprised at what people have in closets and addicts. That is a great way to save money. And Jennifer, I just practiced this. I had to replace the rear tire on my electric bicycle, and they cost $80 new. A friend of mine that has the identical same bike changed out his tires before they were worn out. He wanted a different type. And I asked him if he would be willing to sell them to me. He actually said, no, I'm going to give those to you. So I saved $80 on having that tire put on, and I had a local bike shop put that on my bike just yesterday. So it's a great way to put the word out and let people know what your needs are, and you'll be surprised at how much money you can save this way.
For those wondering if Larry still loves his e-bike a year later, his year bikeasary is coming up. It's been a year since he got the e-bike. He's going to do a special video on it, guys, and let you know, like, an update on the e-bike, whether he still loves it, how many miles he has ridden in the past 12 months on the e-bike, and what sort of like routine maintenance he's had to do on the e-bike, and whether he still thinks the e-bike is a wonderful, wonderful thing to have. So be watching. That video will be coming up in just a few weeks.
Yep, it'll be a review on the e-bike 1 year later.
Becca says, I came here to add my 2 cents. Pun intended. Yes, we love a good pun. Seriously, love good puns. And fell into the expanse of geniusness from all the like-minded people who hang out here. Thank you. We love our viewers. They are such fun people to hang out with. And Becca, we're glad you came to hang out with us. So cool to read some of the things people do to save money. One of the biggest savings for us was ditching the clothes dryer. Yes. I haven't used one in about 6 years, and I never regret it. I have a rotating line outside, which I love. A couple of wall-mounted folding racks inside installed right next to the washer. Also, in the laundry area, I do not use commercial fabric softener. She uses white vinegar instead. Yep, it works. I do use commercial laundry detergent, but I always use far less. Yes, far, far less. Take it from us than what the manufacturer says to use. I only run the washing machine when it's got a full load. All fantastic ways to drop the cost of doing laundry.
Sharon writes, keeping my house cleaned and organized saves me money in so many ways. Because I enjoy being there, I stay home more, saving money on gas. Because my kitchen is always clean, I enjoy cooking at home, saving lots on food and eating healthier. I can invite friends over on a moment's notice for coffee or a drink, saving money for both of us. My little apartment is filled with beautiful secondhand and free furniture and decorations that I've collected over the years. Add free classical music from my local radio station, and it becomes a comforting sanctuary that brings me joy every day. I love that comment. That is awesome, Sharon.
Remember, if you found these tips helpful, and we sure did, make sure that you give the video a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed. We would love to know, would you like to see more of these videos where we are just having coffee with you and sharing some of the tips that come from our amazing viewers? Let us know in the comments section, and we would be super happy to do that for you. And remember, if you're really needing something really fun, cool, colorful that allows you to track your goals when it comes to savings goals and also paying off debt goals, we've got that free set of goal trackers for you. There's a link for you to request it. It's in the description of this video.
If you're ready for some more frugal ideas from us, we did a video on 30 frugal habits that you can put into place in the spring. It's right over there.
DM says, I am currently planning my wedding. Congratulations. That is so awesome. We highly, highly recommend marriage.
Yes, we do.
And answering the phone.
And we love our phone.